Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Friday night and you're watching The Producer's Perspective Live with me, Ken Davenport. Tonight on the show, Broadway press agent who represents some of the biggest shows in town. Six, Mrs. Doubtfire, Moulin Rouge, Be More Chill, and a ton more over his incredible career. So share this stream now because you know what press agents have? All the gossip. Let's hit it.
We're getting the band back together, getting the boys who rock again. Getting the band back together, rocking the bits of the place that remembers when some punks from the suburbs lit the sky with too much reverb. Getting the band back together.
Hi everybody. Did I look a little deer in the headlights there? Because I was. How is everyone tonight? It's Friday. Welcome to the end of another week. If this one felt like the same as last week, it's because it was the same as last week. Welcome back to the show. I am thrilled to have you with us tonight. We've had an action-packed week, and we're going to pack it off with a fantastic episode tonight. We do have Adrian Bryan-Brown from the press agency Bono Bryan-Brown, who's repped a whole ton of my shows and some of the biggest and best Broadway shows there are. And you know what he's doing right now? Unfortunately, a lot, actually. I'm sure he's trying to do a lot to keep his shows going and to manage all the press, because there's a ton of press. So we're going to talk about what he's doing to keep busy, to keep his shows in the news, and what he thinks it's going to look like when we come back. So prepare those questions for Adrian. Remember, we have this brand new question process. Throw your question into the chat. Mary will seek you out and find you, and then she'll invite you inside to our studio, our virtual studio. We'll take you backstage. You'll be able to ask Adrian your question directly. And don't forget to remember, we are here for the Actors Fund. That's why we're here. So we have done almost 60. Have we hit the big 60 yet? Mary, 60? No, dang it. No, still short. And we are still short of our $10,000 goal. And when we reach 10,000, I show everyone my Corona cut. And it is going to be worth it. I think we're like $1,400 away. So maybe tonight will be the night. We'll ask Adrian to tell a story of the most embarrassing star of the biggest, go back. The most embarrassing story of the biggest star he's ever worked with. So he's going to start thinking right now, and if someone donates some money, maybe he'll spill the beans. Hugh Jackman, maybe? I don't know. Vanessa Redgrave? Have you worked with Vanessa Redgrave? I don't know. We'll find out in just a few moments. We had Kelly Devine on the show last night, so go watch those replays. All the replays of our almost 60 episodes are up in the video section of my Facebook page. You can go check them all out. Look at all those amazing people that have joined us. They said some pretty incredible and inspiring things, so go check that out. In the news today, we had some very sad news, actually. I lost a friend and a mentor, and he was a friend and a mentor to a whole lot of people. The industry lost a gentleman, and I mean that in the best way possible in that specific word, Mr. Darren DeVerna, who is the head of Production Resource Group, PRG, who most of you probably don't know. It was the biggest company that supplied the lighting equipment, sound equipment for most Broadway shows, actually. And Darren was the head of it. And you could always find him in a suit and always at Joe Allen's making deals and helping people like me and Broadway shows get up. And he was always there to lend a helping hand. And he lost the battle with cancer, unfortunately, during the midst of all this. So our hearts go out to him and his family. And I know he's looking down on us right now going, keep going. He was always telling me, keep going. I will, Darren, thanks to you and your inspiration and all your help on all my shows. So again, a moment for Darren, and thank you for that sad face. Yeah, it is a sad moment. The Drama Desk Awards, in better news, will take place this Sunday, virtually, of course. This Sunday is the Drama Desk Awards. Award season in action with the Drama Desk. Should be a fun, but who's hosting? I don't even know. I bet Adrian knows. Yes, he knows. He's going to tell us who's hosting, or Mary will Google it and find out for us what they've got in plan so you can tune in. We're doing this thing we do every month. It's called the 30-Day Script Challenge. Now is a great time if you've ever had an idea for a show. Now is a great time to get it out of your head onto a page so it can go onto a stage. This is a totally free challenge and exercise. It's just 30dayplaychallenge.com. I think that's the domain. Mary will throw that in there as well. Go register. It's got prompts. It'll just keep you writing over 30 days. It works. It works. We'll probably still be live streaming in 30 days. You can come back and then show us your script and tell us all about it. So go ahead and check that out. And lastly, I will repeat myself. Don't forget about the Actors Fund. Throw a little change in. And, the fun part to donate is throwing stars at us. Just throw stars, pick up some stars. You can buy like 25, 50. It's like, a penny and a half or something. So pick them up, throw them at us. We will be very appreciative. And the more stars you throw, the more gossip Adrian Bryan-Brown tells us. So let's bring him onto the show right now. Please welcome my press agent and the press agent to so many Broadway shows, Adrian Bryan-Brown.
Ken, thank you so much. I just have one thing. I can't read what's on the top of your hat. Could you just take it off for a second and show me what it says?
No, not yet. You have $1,500?
Not this week. Not this
week. Yeah,
week.
Unfortunately, that's an easy answer.
We are 11 weeks in. 11 weeks in since shutdown. We're going to be hitting 100 non-performances soon. My office is saying, we're going to have special cakes. We're going to celebrate with a non-cake for the 100th performance that didn't happen. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary.
You've been through some amazing things in your career. How long have you been doing this on Broadway now?
I've been doing this over 35 years.
35 years.
So there has never been clearly nothing like this. I mean, it's extraordinary. 9/11 was very sad and awful, but we got back in 3 or 4 days. Mm-hmm. There wasn't that thing of the protracted. There was a strike. There was a musician strike. There've been strikes that have had a few performances off and whatever. But no, this is a whole new world. It is a whole new world. It's extraordinary.
When you went home that day, and your office was doing 6, right?
Okay, right. It was our opening night. Broadway was shut down 90 minutes before this Broadway show had opened.
Oh.
The thing was, every critic had seen it. We had to ask them to hold the reviews because the show was not going to technically open. Now you may wonder, well, why would you do that? Why not just let the reviews run? Well, because at the time we were thinking, okay, this may go on a few days, and we want the editorial boost of having those reviews come out. We don't want to, waste it then. We wanted to save it. But yeah, just imagine that the minds of those performers, that they've got that adrenaline going, they're right there, they're in their party duds before they get do the show and then go to the party and literally plug. I mean, an extraordinary moment.
The decision to hold those reviews back, I'd never even thought of that. I mean, that was a huge and very, very smart decision to make, because had they run and we were out 9 months or a year, I mean, talk about no air in the balloon by the time.
Right. Oh, totally. Yeah. And so it's, I'm a traditionalist. I still believe in the institution of opening nights and having the press and everyone celebrate that moment. It's when the show is frozen. It's when it's ready. It's being released to the world. And so to lose that moment for any show would be incredibly sad and economically horrible. So no, that was quite a call. And what was interesting was all the critics were quite fine about it. They totally got it. Yeah, there wasn't anyone who said, "Oh, I'm going to run it." I've seen it. That was cool.
So somewhere right now on Ben Brantley's computer is the 6 review that has not run, or somewhere even in the.
Yeah, no, it's actually Jesse, but yes. Yeah, disagree. But yeah, that's right.
Aren't you curious?
Well, some of them have told me what the other reviews are, and I'm okay about it. I do not know what the Times review is, and I presume when we come back, they will come back again, and they'll see it again, and they'll see.
Now, so here's a very interesting question: Will do you think Jesse will rewrite the review when they come back? Or will he say this was exactly what I thought beforehand? Or will it be the pandemic edition?
I think that it'll be such a contextual thing. I think when shows come back, I think critical assessment will weigh on the side of happy, good, brave, because I think there's going to be just such a need to support every theatrical endeavor. I mean, it's going to look very churlish if you're suddenly going to get really bitchy about shows when they have struggled to find financing to stay alive for all this time. So I actually had that experience with 9/11. I opened Urinetown and Mamma Mia right after 9/11. And there's no question that both shows, I think they were brilliant and wonderful, but they had a more friendly critical reception and a bigger acceptance because it just seemed like this is not the time to be mean. This is not the time to be picayune and sort of fiddly. And so I think I think when theater comes back or when Broadway comes back, what is left of editorial will rise to the occasion, and I think we'll support it hugely.
And the big $1 million question: when do you think it's going to come back? What's your estimation? What do you believe?
I have no idea. No, I mean, I think it is beyond the control of anyone who works in the industry. I think we're absolutely being guided and want to be guided by what's the right and appropriate thing to do. I think in the meantime, the extraordinary things are happening. It doesn't help my cause as someone who makes a living off Broadway, but I think there's some really creative, inventive theater which isn't just showing a tape on a streaming system. I think, I just read about Lungs, this play that the Old Vic is doing, where two actors, Claire Foy and Matt Smith, who we all know from The Crown, they're doing this play that was meant to go to BAM. They're going to be doing it in the Old Vic without an audience. And it's going to be streamed, and it's going to be it's a two-hander, so it's relatively easy to stage, minimal crew, and they're going to play it for 3 weeks. And 1,000 people a night are going to be able to watch the stream of it. So it's the closest thing you can get to an actual live theater experience. It's 1,000 seats because that's the capacity of the Old Vic, so that it makes you feel, okay, I'm in that community, even though I'm not physically there. And I thought that's an interesting solution. It's not the answer. It's not that moment we want, but it's a way to start thinking about other ways to tell the story. I thought Richard Nelson's Zoom play was extraordinary. What was it called?
I'm still wondering who the Drama Desk host is. So I'm.
Sorry. I'm Frank from New York One.
Yes, Frank Dillell.
Yeah. Frank is the host. But so I think, we're completely freaking out. We're all facing bankruptcy. We're all putting. We're all trying to make ends meet, but there is also something, and this sounds perverse, rather exciting going on too, of people being very creative. I think I like to think we're looking forward, not to the old normal, but a new normal, which will incorporate very traditional theater that we love, in very cramped theaters, and we'll have that experience. But there's also going to be something that is not just a hybrid, but actually a new form that is a participatory theater that involves people and doesn't, it isn't going to be the same, but it's not going to stop the other one from coming back. I just think we're going to broaden the horizon of what can be done. But we're here to talk about Broadway, and God damn it, let's get Broadway back.
No, this is fascinating, because you can't have something this big happen and not have it have a massive impact on where, I often use the analogy that Broadway is like a steamship, and it's very hard to turn it, right? It's very hard to move it. It's why you hear so often, oh, that's not the way we do it. It's just, this is how it's done. Ken, I hear that a lot. And But this is the one thing that actually can move it a little bit, and we're going to see theater in totally different ways, which is exciting.
Yeah, exciting. But I also I don't think it's not going to stop a lot of the very traditional stuff that we love, which is important. But it is going to open new opportunities and hopefully bring new people in and bring new talent in. And so I think that it's actually very interesting.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made that all this streaming stuff that's happening right now, and there's so much of it, is able to reach so many more people around the world in such a more vivid way than just a print article or something. They're getting to know people.
And I equate a lot of it to when, because I'm an old person, when VHS tapes came in, when you could actually record shows and watch shows. Suddenly there was the potential, whether anyone took it or not is another question, to become incredibly well versed in cinema, or in just to be able to catch up. And I think we now have an opportunity to see all of the great theater of the last 50, 60 years in some sort of video presentation. It's not the same. It is absolutely not the same. But it does, I think, help you then appreciate when you see it live, the context, the background. I think it makes you enjoy things more fully the more you see, even when you're seeing it on a screen as opposed to in an audience. I think I'm quite sort of passionate about the idea. I want to see performers performing, but I also want to be with an audience doing it. But if I can't be with an audience doing it, I'm very happy to see how it was done, what it looks like. I think that's kind of exciting. And we can see all of Andrew's shows, suddenly all of Andrew's musicals. It's wild. And then putting on all these great plays, it's great.
So what are you doing now? I made a comment about what your day is like. How are you managing the shows? What do you find your duties are? Producers calling you every 5 minutes, freaking out?
No, I think everyone is kind of in a pretty zen place right now. I think if you think about the way the Broadway season works and how it happened right as everything was going to explode with the award season, all the final shows of the year opening, the incredibly competitive advertising, marketing to really sell these different Broadway shows. And thank God they are so different. And that just stopped. And so the shows that have been running for a while were sort of saving their energy to prepare for this onslaught. The new shows were about to just sort of pound away and tell their story. So from a press and marketing point of view, it was suddenly like, oh, what happened? Mrs. Doubtfire played 3 previews before it shut down, was well on the way to opening night. So all sorts of stuff was being laid out. Ads were being bought, a lot of money and energy was going into pushing it, and then suddenly it's like, no. So you're thinking of the arc of a Broadway year and the campaign of a particular show. Everyone is geared to, good or bad, the award season and on Broadway positioning around that as a sales tool, as to extend the visibility and the hopefully the long-term success of the show, and that went away. So I think so. What happened then was, okay, we don't know when we're coming back. What now is the priority? The priority is to keep audiences aware of the show. We can't really sell tickets. We're confused. We're doing refunds. We're doing exchanges. What is the real priority? And the real priority is to keep the awareness of the show out there in a way that doesn't cost any money. And then after a little bit of that, everyone goes, now hang on a second, that the most important thing right now is to actually understand and get out of our own little bubble that everyone is suffering in some way or other. And to be way more aggressive in appreciating the audience. And so then I think that's when we got to the wave of what content can we put out that is not just a placebo, but something that says, we're not here now, but we're really thinking of you and we appreciate you. So here's our little Zoom video we've done to show you what we're up to. Here's a tape of an old performance you might like. So I think we pivoted very quickly to showing concern for the audience. Mm. And the thing we are not doing and won't do till much later is sell. No one is selling right now. This is about concern and sharing, and it's kind of great. And it's also been amazing to see how very competitive people in the Broadway environment are working together to do that. It's normally during the award season, you're stabbing each other in the back, and then it's ridiculous. But instead, it's now this thing of a lot of communal events. It's like Paul Wontorek's Sondheim concert was extraordinary. I mean, there are lots of events happening that are showing the community is caring and sharing and raising extraordinary amounts of money, like Ken Davenport and his thing that raises money for the Actors Fund. I think that spirit is quite remarkable. And so that's what we've been doing a lot of the time is just sort of channeling a lot of these ideas to, yes, selfishly keep awareness for the show, but never to pitch the show, never to sort of, we're great, and with the Tony's not happening and the other awards happening, I think you're seeing clearly they're not getting the kind of profile they normally would, but no one is touting big wins. Everyone's celebrating, hey, this is great. Congratulations to everyone who was nominated. And the Outer Critics even went as far as to just say, we're going to honor people this year, and rather than pick a winner, we're just going to honor people. And I think that's the mindset. And so I'd say a lot of the time is just spent, coordinating actors and creative people to make videos, to do various interviews about what they're doing in isolation, blah, blah, blah. But it's also, the next phase is going to be completely different. I don't know what it is, but the actors are fried.
Yeah.
Everyone's been on unemployment for 12 weeks now. There's concern about how long this is going on because we really don't know. And so part of what we're doing now is trying to make sure they get paid when they do stuff.
Yeah. I'm doing some demos and things and throwing some money at folks because of that thing. That unemployment is going to, the boost to the unemployment is going to end at the end of June when the PPP all that stuff comes out. Which is why we're raising money for the Actors Fund, everybody.
Absolutely.
That's why we're here. It goes right to those folks, because I am petrified. I've been on this a lot. I am petrified that we're going to lose people to other industries. And I'm hearing stories about this already. People going to producers and saying, I hear we're not going to be out back till January. I can't make it. I'm going to join my dad's business. I'm going to move back home and do this. And not only, frankly, and this is something that I'm sure you can speak to, which is, we think about actors, of course, a lot, but the Actors Fund is everyone in the business.
Yeah.
I worry about junior press agents and marketing people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the huge number of people who go into putting on shows. I mean, it's way more than you see on stage and way more than you see when you walk into a theater. And I think it's what's so sad is, because it will be one of the last industries to go back. My biggest concern is when we are getting to a point of the new way we live, the new way things are done, we may still not be there. So to me, it's very important that we maintain some energy to keep raising our hands and saying, hey guys, beyond that period when even restaurants may be back to a more working model, even sports may be back. So it's going to be, the next step is going to be a stamina thing. How do we keep that going? One thing that we are I mean, I think the Broadway League has been great. They're talking to the governor and they're talking to politicians and they're really pushing. It was fascinating to see last week. Sonia Friedman wrote this letter that was basically said, this is the state of the British theatre industry, or the British theatre. If the government doesn't step in and help, 70% of the theatre companies will be down by December. Okay. And, you think, whoa, that's a very big, bold statement. It was actually a great rallying cry, because it meant that a lot of theatre producers, owners, or whatever could get behind a number and then go to government and say, we need some kind of a package, we need some kind of support, we need to have this appreciation. I think everyone in Britain and here has done a very good job of explaining how much theatre does for the economy in the peripheral of the restaurants, the Uber, everything that goes into going to a Broadway show, and the money raised, and the same in the West End and other theatres around the world. And I think we do a good job of that. We just have to keep making it a priority for politicians to really pay attention to.
Would you, as a press rep, then, just thinking about the U.S., because I'm thinking about the U.K., Sonia Friedman, obviously that article was the article heard around the world because we got it over here as well.
Yep.
And Lloyd Webber has been active. Should
Right.
a very high-profile producer in the U.S., would you say, let's get you a Times editorial feature to do something to talk about what you need, rather than?
I think the culture is different, and I think we're not seeing it happen so much. I think it's easier in British culture to be more public about it. I think it's happening more behind closed doors. Is my feeling. But I do think it's. I mean, when you think it's God, look, it's important that we aren't shy about it, but at the same time, we've got to always recognize that we are in the middle of a big disease, and we have to explain why this esoteric little art form is worthy of this support and attention. And I think we do it very well. You do it very well. But I think that we must never for a moment take it for granted that we must justify how important theatre is, because we all believe it, but we've got to do it in a way that really includes everyone.
You've lived through and seen over the past 35 years of your career press change dramatically, from the birth of the onlines to blogs and social media. What do you think press is going to look like, and how is your job going to change when, in the 12 months after we're back?
Right. I think what's become more and more evident is that we've always been storytellers that tell the story of the stories of the theatre. And I think that's becoming more and more apparent. I think we're now training people by people, I mean actors, creative team members, or whatever, to be their own ambassadors. And I think we're making them better at using press opportunities when they get them, by coaching them more, but also to have them be active on social so that they can take on that role too. So I think we're more, not consigliere, but that's the wrong word, but we're guides. We're shaping it. And the same with journalists. I mean, I think, that there's still a lot of journalists. They're just in different places. And I still maintain there's a difference between an influencer and a journalist. But it's getting to be a gray area. A journalist, in theory, still has some kind of objectivity. An influencer can be a fan, and that's great. But I still think that there is always going to be a need for clear editorial that comes from an unbiased source, that isn't, a paid announcement, and will have credibility. And I just think we're going to be spending more time, rather than just making broad announcements, tailoring it more, involving. I mean, we have extraordinary access now. We have transparency on everything. And I think we're going to be spending more time training people who work on shows and who are in shows to be better ambassadors when they get those press moments, and when they do stuff. Does that make sense? I think it's broadening from being just asking an actor to do an interview, but asking an actor to do an interview, then post it on social, then to really become way more involved in the process of telling a story. Because we tell stories. I mean, we tell, this is the story of this show, this is the story of this actor, and we're just, I think we're very good at it, but I think we're going to get more and more refined and better at doing it. I just think it's it's going to be less about critics and the critics opening night, and more about sort of almost micro editorials in a way.
Yeah, that was my next question, actually, because I listened to this business guru talk, and he said, if your company or business was losing money or in trouble before the pandemic, you're in big trouble now. Forget it. You're not getting out. Like if you were an industry or something. So, and I think about critics a lot and writers for the theater, because that was a section of our population that was endangered, right? We've lost a lot of reviewers, and you are still talking, I'm sure, to a lot of members of the press now. What are they thinking? Are they worried, concerned? Do you think we're going to lose a big chunk of them?
I think they're very worried, and I think because the ownership of a lot of media has gone to commercial enterprises as opposed to people who are passionate about editorial. And there's certainly a lot of conflict of interest in a lot of editorial, but I still think that for certain productions and at certain times, that the power of a traditional New York Times review will be there. Right now, I think the Times numbers have never been higher. They're giving it away during the COVID crisis, but their click rates are through the roof. Mm-hmm. And that's not just in pandemic coverage. It's in every section. Probably mainly food, but it's
crossword puzzle.
Yeah, really. But it's huge, and so they're now in this dilemma. They have no advertising, but they have a ton of people who will make small or no payments for their content, but that's still very powerful. I mean, that their reach has become really trusted.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, actually, my father subscribed to the New York Times, and he passed a couple months ago, and I canceled his subscription. And literally today, I resubscribed because I'm just like, oh yeah, I got to get this content. I'm very curious, not only about the free COVID stuff, about everything else. So
yeah, it's funny. I must say though that I haven't been getting the paper on a regular basis. I read everything online, but I get it occasionally. I'm now finding it very hard to read. I'm trained myself to look at the Times pages online, which I never thought I'd do. Mm. And also part of the reason I used to like getting it was the juxtaposition of the advertising, because so much of that in the print edition was about that of what's the environment, what else is going on.
This, I would imagine, talk about, again, that idea of an industry or something that was endangered on the way into this. Yeah. I would put the final nail or very close to it in print advertising or print publications.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we've already seen that weekly magazines have become monthly and then monthly have become quarterly. And the print is a sort of luxury. It's something to put on the coffee table as opposed to an actual source of information. And but it's true in traditional broadcasting too. I mean, like with all the CBS layoffs this week, it's the economy, well, not the economy, but the pandemic causing most advertisers to stop completely has just had an extraordinary impact on all sources of editorial. Mm-hmm. Finally, CNN is starting to get some advertising. I mean, it was just that endless promos. You're going crazy. I mean, going crazy.
Oh God, or as seen on TV.
I do love the Anderson Cooper one, I must say, though. But it's nuts.
If let's just go out with this. I want you to imagine you're writing an op-ed tomorrow for the New York Times on how or why theater fans should be positive about what's next, or how to stay positive during this crazy time. What would you say in that article? And you could say to everyone out there watching right now.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm going to wing this. I think, look, we're very lucky to have a culture that has so many choices. We have an extraordinary range of film, movie, TV, music. I mean, we have extraordinary choice. Theater, is sidelined for the moment. I think you can read about theater, you can watch video of theater, you can talk about theater. I think it will always be there. And the great thing is, it was always meant to be ephemeral. Theater was never meant to be something you put on the shelf. It was always an event you went to, and there was that moment. So you can I think live for some of the great things you've seen, and look at a playbill and go, oh my God, that was spectacular. But you can also know that it's such a primal and essential part of our social lives to be in that communal space. And once we have a way of feeling safe in that communal space again, we'll be there. And I just hang in. I think we'll get there. It's that right now it just seems incredibly bleak, incredibly challenging, and quite scary. But for the fan, I think, watch everything. Read some books. There's some amazing books about the theater. But it's never, it's always going to be that thing of, yes, I saw it, and you can have pride in that you saw it, but it's gone. It was that magical moment, and we're just not having those magical moments right now. We've just got to live for the ones that we've had and know that more will come. I love it.
Thank you so much for all the juicy stuff tonight. I appreciate
it. No gossip. I didn't give you
gossip. Anything? You got anything for us?
No.
You're too good. You're too good.
No, I have great love and respect for Frank Langella, who wrote a book about his relationship to a lot of famous people, all of whom were dead. And it's a fantastic read. It's a great book. But he could say what he could say because and while I'm still planning to work a few more years in this business, I'm afraid that's where I am.
Like a good press rep, that's why I hire him, because he keeps his mouth shut.
Love you. Oh, I have to give you a plug. Thank you for doing. Are you doing Patrick's show? Are you doing?
I did, Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't it air this weekend?
I thought it did. Maybe it does. No, I think it aired.
Oh, you think it aired already? Or is it? I thought it was airing this weekend.
Oh, is it airing this weekend? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out who's hosting the Drama Desk Awards.
But
I know.
Anyway, if you watch Patrick Pacheco's show, All the Moving Parts, with Ken Davenport, I think it's on this weekend. If not, it's streaming.
Maybe that's it.
That's right.
That's great. I love Patrick.
And keep watching this and give money to show Ken's hairdo.
He's such a great press agent. This is again why I hired him. He's pressing me, and I didn't
I didn't even need that.
Thank you so much.
This was fun. Take care.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Adrian Bryan-Brown, one of the smartest guys in the business I know. One of the reasons I hire him is because I always call him and I have an idea. I need some advice. And you know what? He's one of the few people, this is what's so important for people that work with me, is he tells me when he thinks it's a crazy idea and I shouldn't do it. And he has told me that many times, and he has prevented me from making some pretty big boo-boos. So I'm very thankful to him for that. I'm very thankful to all of you for tuning in, and hopefully that number on that Actors Fund donation chart went up, up, up. Glad you enjoyed it. What do we got going on next? Ooh, Monday, we got a weekend coming up. Hope you got some. It's going to be hot here in New York. I don't know if you can see this. I'm sweating right now. I got to figure out how to turn the air conditioning on. It's this new ring light I got. It's like a spot. It's like dripping over here. Anyway, I'll figure that out for Monday. We'll get some AC going. We have John Cariani. actor, writer John Cariani, Band's Visit, Something Rotten. He is like, if you're watching a lot of Law and Order SVU right now, which I know a lot of you are because you're trapped inside, John Cariani has a fantastic recurring role of the forensic detective. So check him out there. Check him out on Monday with us. He's going to talk about what he's been up to. I have a feeling he's been doing a lot of writing. So we'll hear all about that. We also have a special guest on Monday, Michael Merritt, who's been a longtime member of our Theater Maker Studio community, and I've known him as a writer and as a theater maker. He's also an ER nurse right here in the city and served on the front lines of this crisis when it was at its high point. So I wanted to have him on to talk a little bit about what he went through and why it's not over and how we need to keep social distancing. He'll tell us a lot about those stories on Monday. Don't forget about that 30-day script challenge we're doing. I'm scrolling up right now to find a comment from our dear friend Drew, who said a silver lining for theater writers is to use this hiatus to get caught up on back burner projects, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have what everyone says they always need more of, time. If you have an idea and want to get a script out in 30 days, and unfortunately we've got 30 days, the challenge is a great way to do it. It's the most successful thing we've ever done to get people writing stuff, and we hear about shows going on from there. So just what's the worst that's going to happen? You don't write it? Well, you haven't written it, so give it a shot. It's totally free. Just jump in and start writing. I'd love to hear how it works out for you. Lastly, we will end with this, something to make you smile. This is another TikTok. This is Ham at Home. This is a guy who does Hamilton at home, hence the Ham at Home. And what's amazing is that I expected, we had Mary Neely on who did those brilliant videos, the Bella, Beauty and the Beast and the wigs and all that stuff. So I expected something similar. No, this guy took it to another level. It's all in a mirror. It's all fantastic mirror work. So it feels like you're seeing a chorus line a little bit, that incredible mirrored set there. So go check that out. That's at that's at theproducersperspective.com/smile. I gave the wrong domain address last night, as Mary spanked me for as we signed off. Anyway, that's it for tonight's episode. Please don't forget about the Actors Fund. Give a little if you can, and we'll keep coming back to you. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Getting the band back together.